Christopher Nolan, the man who made audiences understand nuclear physics for 3 hours and come back for more. The architect of The Dark Knight, Inception, Interstellar, Oppenheimer. A filmmaker so trusted, studios hand him blank checks and film cameras the size of refrigerators. On the other hand, Spider-Man. Not just a character, a religion. The most beloved superhero ever put to page or screen. The one Marvel fans grew up with, cried with, and swung through New York alongside for over 60 years. The god of modern cinema versus the soul of modern comics. Nolan isn't just making a movie. He is resurrecting one of the greatest stories ever told, Homer's Odyssey. A 2,700-year-old epic about war, monsters, gods, and one man's impossible journey home. A story so foundational, it literally invented the concept of the hero's journey. Brand New Day isn't just a sequel. It's an evolution drawn directly from the beloved 2008 comic storyline that rewired Peter Parker from the ground up. A story where Peter's powers are changing, growing, mutating, where Spider-Man faces not just a villain, but himself and what he might be becoming. The oldest story ever written versus the freshest chapter of Marvel's most personal hero. Nolan assembled a cast that reads like a fever dream. Matt Damon as Odysseus, Tom Holland as his searching son, Anne Hathaway, Zendaya, Robert Pattinson, Charlize Theron, Lupita Nyong'o, Jon Bernthal, Travis Scott, and Spider-Man. Brand New Day answers with characters. The Hulk, Bruce Banner, back in Peter's corner. The Punisher, Frank Castle, bringing his very particular brand of justice to New York streets. Scorpion, The Hand, and Sadie Sink in a role no one will stop theorizing about. The greatest living actors on screen together versus one of the most iconic comic book roster assembled since Endgame. Nolan shot the Odyssey on brand new IMAX film technology, never used before in cinema history, on location across Italy, Greece, Iceland, Morocco, and Scotland. Real oceans, real ancient ruins, real scale that no green screen can fake. Spider-Man, Brand New Day was crafted in 2 native aspect ratios, a first for the franchise, built specifically to fill every screen in every theater from your local multiplex to your nearest IMAX dome. And those evolving powers, early reports suggest they go somewhere the MCU has never gone before. Old world filmmaking at its absolute peak versus the future of the superhero blockbuster. Nolan hasn't made a film since Oppenheimer swept the Oscars. The pressure is mythological, fitting really. Spider-Man hasn't had a solo film since No Way Home broke the internet in 2021. 5 years of waiting. An entire generation of fans who grew up with Tom Holland are now adults ready to see Peter Parker grown up too. Both films open in July 2026. Both demand to be seen on the biggest screen possible. Only one can dominate the summer. This is The Clash. Now, before we compare the pros and cons of both, I see that none of you who watch my videos are actually subscribed. So please consider subscribing and turning on notifications. It's free for you, but is extremely helpful to me. Now back to the video. Let's get serious and actually break these two films down. Because the conversation isn't just which one is better, it's about what each film is trying to do, and whether it's the right film at the right time. Let's go category by category. Prosody Odyssey. After Oppenheimer won Best Picture and Best Director, Nolan has more creative freedom than almost any filmmaker alive. He chose the Odyssey as his next project, meaning this isn't a studio assignment. This is his passion project that always matters. As Nolan himself pointed out, there has never been a major Hollywood adaptation of the Odyssey. For a story this foundational to Western literature, that's extraordinary. This is completely uncharted territory for cinema at this scale. Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Zendaya, Robert Pattinson, Charlize Theron, Lupita Nyong'o, Jon Bernthal. This is Oppenheimer-level ensemble casting. Every role will be inhabited by someone extraordinary. Shot on location across 6 countries using brand new IMAX film technology. This film will look unlike anything you've seen in theaters. Nolan's commitment to practical in-camera filmmaking gives his movies a texture and weight that CGI-heavy productions can't replicate. The Odyssey releases July 17th. Early enough in the summer to dominate, and the type of film that awards bodies are already circling. A Nolan epic adapting Homer, it was practically designed for awards conversation. Cons. Odyssey Nolan's films reward patience. Not everyone is willing to give it. The Odyssey will ask its audience to invest deeply in mythology, non-linear storytelling, and a protagonist who is, by design, morally complicated. Mainstream audiences who want spectacle without homework may check out. Unlike Marvel properties, there's no pre-existing, deeply passionate audience for the Odyssey the way there is for Spider-Man. Nolan's name is the fan base. That's powerful, but it's also a ceiling. The gap since Oppenheimer has made this the most anticipated film of the year. That level of expectation is a double-edged sword. Oppenheimer exceeded it. Any film that doesn't will feel like a disappointment, fairly or not. Tom Holland appears in both films, as Telemachus here and Spider-Man 2 weeks later. For fans, this might create a mental separation issue. It's hard to see Odysseus' son on screen and not think about the web-slinger who arrives 14 days later. Pros Spider-Man. No Way Home is one of the highest grossing films of all time. People wept at the ending. Brand New Day walks into a room full of fans who have been waiting half a decade to see what happens next to Peter Parker. That's an almost unfair advantage. The premise, that Peter's powers are changing and evolving in dangerous and unexpected ways, is pulled from one of the most beloved modern Spider-Man comic runs. It's not just a new villain, it's a new Spider-Man. That's rare and fans know it. The Hulk, the Punisher, Scorpion, the Hand. Sadie Sink in a mystery role that the internet is convinced is Jean Grey. Brand New Day isn't just a Spider-Man movie. It's a Marvel event film hiding inside a solo outing. We know Peter. We love Peter. The film doesn't need to spend 30 minutes building audience investment. That investment is already there. It can hit the ground running emotionally in a way no new IP can. By all accounts from the production, Holland considers this his finest work. A Peter Parker who is now an adult, alone, and bearing the full weight of heroism without a single safety net. That's the version of this character fans have been asking for. Cons. Spider-Man. Some audiences will be experiencing superhero burnout. Brand New Day needs to feel genuinely different, not just another chapter in an ongoing serialized universe. The emotional engine of the film, that the world has forgotten Peter Parker exists, is powerful, but it's also a concept the MCU needs to handle with precision. If it feels like a narrative convenience rather than an earned emotional reality, the premise deflates. Brand New Day releases 2 weeks after the Odyssey. The conversation will inevitably be framed as who won July. The film's release was literally pushed back a week to avoid direct competition with Nolan. That's not a great psychological position to occupy. With Hulk, Punisher, Scorpion, and a mystery character all in the mix, plus MJ, Ned, and Peter's own arc, the film has a lot to service. If the balance is off, it risks feeling overstuffed, which has derailed MCU films before. Now, before I give my concluding verdict, I want you guys to comment down on which movie you trust more. So here's the truth. These films aren't really competing for the same audience. The Odyssey is asking you to sit in an IMAX theater and experience cinema as an art form. It's Nolan making the biggest, most ambitious film of his career, adapting a story that has lasted 3 millennia for a reason. Brand New Day is asking you to feel something you already know how to feel. Love for Peter Parker, and then push that love somewhere new and unexpected. The box office clash is real, but the real winners? The audience. Because in the span of 2 weeks this July, you get Nolan at his most epic and Spider-Man at his most personal. See both. Argue with your friends. That's what summer movies are for.